Hey ladies, this is Mocha Mommy here bringing you another video. And in this video, I just want to kind of review, I guess, the Meghan and Harry series on Netflix. I typically don't watch like a ton of TV, and I typically really don't do too much like celebrity, like gossip, celebrity news type thing. But I did get a couple of takeaways from this docu-series, and I've never been much of a royal watcher or anything like that. Um, I do remember when Princess Diana died, and it seems like everywhere on television was a funeral. I also remember her wedding being everywhere on television. You couldn't get away with it. And I was very young then. But when her funeral, I was young adult, and I remember seeing the boys walking behind the casket. And I think the whole world remembers that. And I remember saying to my dad, like, "Ooh, I don't think that little one is gonna be okay." And my dad was like, "Yeah, that's the makings of a serial killer." So, like it was kind of like saying like the older one we kind of thought was gonna be okay, but the younger one we thought that he was gonna be problematic. So of course, when we started, like, as Harry got older, we started seeing like the stuff of him like wilding out in Vegas. It like made sense, like what my dad said, like he has like the makings of a serial killer, and that somehow Harry was never going to be right after that, after the death of his mother. And then, there had been those rumors that even before Princess Diana died, I think that some other guy was his dad. And I really feel like Prince Harry sort of has his own like villain origin story even before he was married. I think also he had that whole mental health thing that he did with Oprah after his service in the military. From my understanding, during Operation OEF, he had been on multiple rotations in and out of Afghanistan. And then somehow it got leaked to the press, like that he was serving and what unit he was serving with. And then there had to be some kind of very dramatic extraction that took a lot of resources from the entire Allied forces. That I do remember. And as a result, he had to then end his military service sooner than he wanted to. And then that's when Invictus Games came about. And that was sort of like a Special Olympics for wounded warriors. And I think that helped a lot of people see that wounded warriors were not people to be pitied, but to be admired. And I did respect him for that. Also, when he had his mental health special, it covered everything from PTSD to the amount of mental stress that refugees go under, that people who struggle with anxiety and depression. So it gave voice to like a lot of different mental health illnesses so that people would have like, I guess, like the vocabulary to talk about it. But I know that it wasn't very highly rated because people think that rich people don't have problems, because I think that there were all like other celebrities talking about their struggles with mental health. And I think like the celebrity element of it made it kind of, I guess, maybe sexy. But then at the same time, some people who are actually struggling with mental health, they felt that it trivialized their situation. But overall, I thought it was pretty decent because I like a lot of the stuff that Oprah produces. And I thought that this was a pretty good project. And I also think the Invictus Games and things like that, like Special Olympics, Invictus Games, it's a good way for us to bring respect and admiration to people who would otherwise be pitied. And I like the way it put them in a different light. Now, as far as Meghan is concerned, I can't say that I was familiar with her acting, but it took me a minute to draw the connection between that she was the mind behind the website, The Tig. So some of you who are younger, you may not know, but may not remember this, but in the 2010s, 2010s, travel blogging and travel vlogging became huge, right? And her website was really aimed at like the young professional or the young socialite, where she would find the restaurants that were off the beaten path, or she would go to the vacation destinations that weren't quite trendy, but still made you look sophisticated and you could still brag about in certain social circles. She, went to the boutiques that were like the things that were up and coming and next in fashion. So if you were like a young professional, a young socialite, my younger cousins were very into that whole travel blogging, fashion blogging scene, restaurant blogging scene, and she was very instrumental in that. And shout out to her. Listen, no matter what you may think or whatever, sis has got game. And I will say this, she know how to monkey branch, going from a young Hollywood executive to a prince. And I definitely think she's a lot more strategic with her community service. Honestly, I checked out the Archwell website with the charities that they are affiliated with. And I really see, okay, there's still opportunity here. There's opportunity for you here, Black women. Like, I made my video on community service and I talked about that, how we really got to stop messing with these food banks and where our cars are getting broken into, and these toy drives where we getting cussed out because we're not bringing the right stuff. Listen, we really need to focus on the charities where we're going to get something out of it. That's a little bit more quid pro quo. And, I've talked more about my family in the past, but I'll say this. My oldest daughter took a gap year, and last year for Christmas, she was gifted a Broadway in Austin, membership where she could see a bunch of different Broadway plays. And that experience taught her that the patrons and the behind the arts are way more powerful than anything that the people on that stage are. Right? That the patrons behind the arts, like those businesses, those charities, the trustees that sit on those boards are way more powerful than the artists ever will be. And I really feel that she noticed that. I really feel that through her community service and she can put herself in the right position always, even while giving back to other people. And I'm putting that in air quotes, okay? And I really think there's a lesson to be learned there. Putting yourself in that right position, in the right vacation destination, the right restaurant, being seen in the right fashion at the right place, with the right charity work and connections. I just think sis has got game. I think Megan got game. That's my biggest takeaway from this special is I would probably not focus on the gossip. I'd focus on the game. This is Mocha Mommy, and I'll see you in the next video.